Welcome to the Bold Analysis. My name is Frank. For a better part of yesterday, as the Gen Zs threatened to march towards the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, there was a heated debate online on the management and on the leasing of the intended lease of the airport to some international contractor to reinforce or see the next phase of the development of the airport, construction of a new runway, the building of a new passenger terminal, and taxiway and apron. Of interest was the dossier that was released by the Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka, who claimed to have been sent a document pertaining how the airport was to be taken by an international investor, Adani Airport Holdings, without the knowledge of Kenyans and other concerned stakeholders. Yesterday also, when appearing before the Parliamentary Committee in charge of Transport and Related Services, the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi seemed to be defending a dead move where he argued that there are no such intentions and plans to sell our airport or to give away our airport, which is a major national asset built in Kenya. So there has been a lot of flip-flops on what is the true position of government in regards to the management of the airport. And people have been asking questions. Are you giving away our airports? Is our airport being given away to foreigners? Those have been the questions. So I just want us to get a snippet of some videos, rather. One is an interview of Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka appearing before Citizen TV, and the other one is of Musalia Mudavadi appearing in Parliament on the same.
What everybody thinks. I mean, I repeated when we started here. Why are they going to the airport? Imagine we are signing off our airport to be run by a private company, which is going to hold that for 30 years. And after the contract expires, they would keep equity in that arrangement of our airports at the rate of 18%, eternally. How did somebody sign an agreement like that? You see, so the questions that we have got...
Did you as elected leaders have wind of whatever arrangements or whatever agreements were going on with the...
Actually, I was the whistleblower. I'm the one who has presented all the documents to the Senate, and I've given it to the media, if you check. It was a whistleblower from France, a Kenyan, a young Kenyan boy who has been working in the sovereign fund of some country, saw the document passing through his desk. He forwarded to me, he said, Onyonka, the airport is gone. I don't know what you're going to do. Try your level best. These are the facts. Why can't the president stop anybody playing these corruption games? The point many people are asking, why are we having ourselves dig a hole which we are heading into, and yet we know what the solutions are? All right, even when people are complaining about us trying to destroy the country because the Gen Zs are asking for questions, I've even heard somebody say...
Let me discount immediately that the airport, Jomo Kenyatta Airport, is not on sale. This is a public asset. It is a strategic asset. And if it was going to be sold, you can only do it after a full public process that Parliament endorses. So anybody who is giving the impression that the airport, Jomo Kenyatta Airport, has been sold is not being factual. It is not true. What we need to appreciate is that we will need to modernize our airport. We need a new terminal. You remember there was a greenfield terminal, but it never took off. The contractual engagement had its challenges. There was litigation. It's told, going forward, the Kenya Airports Authority must look at its investment program very, very carefully, make sure that everything is transparent, so that during the expansion process of the second terminal, if it is under PPP arrangement, and let it be done properly, thoroughly, through the legal process, so that everybody knows what is going on. But I want to assure Kenyans that the Kenya Airports Authority is not up for sale. The other thing that I want to mention to Kenyans is that one of our long-term strategies is to create Nairobi as a logistical hub. And we are talking even with the United Nations offices in Nairobi, so that apart from just the new terminal that will come up, we want to create Jomo Kenyatta Airport, have part of Mombasa at the port, and have all through to Naivasha logistics hubs that meet certain standards, so that the United Nations can use this destination, Kenya, as a logistical hub for their operations, just the way there's a logistics hub in Italy.
After those two contradicting and contrasting speeches that were made yesterday, or views that were made yesterday, today, since the pressure continued to increase on the government side, the Kenya Airports Authority released a press statement stating the true position of government in regards to the management and lease of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Just to read to you that letter as it reads: Statement on Jomo Kenyatta International Airport concession, Nairobi 24th, 2024, July 2024. Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is a strategic national asset built in 1978. Its aging infrastructure is a threat to our regional competitiveness. The cabinet approved the JKIA medium-term investment plan covering the upgrade of the passenger terminal building, runway, taxiway, and apron. The attendant investment requirement is significant and cannot be funded with the prevailing physical constraints without recourse to private funding, which up to that particular point, we have no problem with that letter, because it is true that the Kenyan government is undergoing severe physical constraints in regards to the looming public debt that we have. So going for private-public partnerships is commendable. Paragraph 2. Kenya Airports Authority received an investment proposal under the Public-Private Partnership Act 2021 from the Adani Holdings Limited, a key airport operator, to invest in a new terminal building, second runway, and refurbishment of the existing facilities at JKIA. Up to that point, Kenyans still don't have any problem with the same, so long as that investment proposal was subjected to a rigorous public tendering exercise that invited interested bidders to bid for the same, which up to that point, they've not told that information whether it was subjected to such. So that is the first thing. That is the first issue that we are raising with that. The third paragraph, the proposal will be subject to technical, financial, and legal reviews alongside requisite due processes in compliance with the Public-Private Partnerships Act of 2021. The project agreement will be preceded by stakeholder engagement, the National Treasury approval, the Attorney General clearance, and the Cabinet approval. We have so many issues on that. We'll explain within this analysis. I wish to assure our staff that no jobs are at risk. I also wish to assure the airport business community and operators that the expanded facility will create additional business opportunities and attendant benefits. signed by Henry Ogoe, the acting managing director or the CEO to the Kenya Airports Authority. Now, having read that clearly and understood it, there are some critical issues and questions that we want to ask, and especially on the manner and way in which the Prime Cabinet Secretary responded to the allegations that the airport is being given away. He chose to deny it. He denied the fact that the airport was being handed over to a private investor in order to oversee the maintenance. To a point, some Kenyans were asking jokingly on social media, kwani ye pia ameanza kuvaa kaunda. You know, the way kaunda is associated with Ruto, and a majority of Kenyans take Ruto for lies. They usually say if he's not flying, he's lying. So, some of the questions that I want us to form the basis or the backbone of this analysis are as follows. If it indeed it is true that the airport is being given to Adani Holding Investment, why did the government fail in the first place to make such kind of an agreement public? Yet, this is a strategic asset to this country. That might mean that they rode on what they perceived as ignorance of Kenyans. They thought that Kenyans maybe are too ignorant to find out on their own of such intended dirty or hidden agreements with private partners. Yet, this is an issue or a matter that concerns the greater public interest. The Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is a public airport belonging to the people of Kenya and not just to the government. And who is the government? The government is the people. The second question is on, you know, the state of all this was where the government, just this Kenya Kwanza government, denied Parliament the legislative responsibility of, or rather of looking into the issue of parastatals in regards to their privatization, sale and buy. And that is a decision that was transferred to the minister in charge of Treasury, the Attorney General, and subject to cabinet approval. On that, even the members of Parliament failed this nation because it seemed as a clear case in point where they transferred their brains to their stomachs. Why would we get into such kind of an agreement with the executive? Yet it is the Parliament that is the sole representative of the people. The members of Parliament in the National Assembly represent the people who elected them to those offices. They just represent the sovereign power of the people. And therefore, taking away their legislative duties and responsibilities and giving it to the executive was an abuse and a spat on Kenyans. You even saw the other day, and that was a grave mistake first of all. You even saw the other day when there was a proposal to have issues concerned with the sale and purchase of land in this country transferred from the Constitutional Independent Office, the National Lands Commission, to the Cabinet Secretary in charge of lands. That was wrong, because who is that Cabinet Secretary answerable to? It is the President. So it is the same as giving the President too much powers, which is a risky recipe for our country. It is a risky and a bad taste recipe towards the national cake of our country. The other concern that we have in regards to the letter that has been released by the Kenya Airports Authority and the contrasting or the contradicting position that the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi issued is, why did they have to wait for public uproar in order for them to respond? Because the response by Musalia Mudavadi yesterday was not timely. It was late. when already the information had spread online. The information had spread across many Kenyans. I even saw yesterday when some Gen Zs were marching towards those sides of JKIA. There was one of them who was cornered and asked, "Why are you protesting?" He seemed not to know a lot of things, but he responded, "They are giving away our airport to a Muhindi." So it means that that is an information that was already outside there, being and already consumed by the concerned citizen. Doesn't matter whatever class of social ranking order the citizen belongs to. Because this is a public asset, therefore, if the public is informed of any wrongdoings, any dirty dealings concerning it, there is no wrong. So why did they have to wait up to today, especially for the Kenya Airports Authority to respond on the same, when this was already a deal in the offing? When this was already a deal that had been made, some signatures had been assented to. Why did it have to wait for some Kenyan working abroad to come across such documents and act as a whistleblower, transfer it to a legislator in this country in order for it to be known? You know, as a matter of fact, Kenyans have no problem with private-public partnerships, but have a problem with the hidden terms in such kinds of partnerships. Because of recent and of late, the trend that we have been witnessing in these public-private partnerships is that almost all of them get into a lease period of about 30 years. That is it. So whatever Kenyans demanded to know from this is, what are the hidden interests? What are the hidden terms? And what are we said to gain from that? And what is the people who have been awarded these tenders said to gain from the same? And how will it benefit us as Kenyans? The other concern, or the other issue that portrayed itself clearly in this, was on the timing of the appointment of Davis Chirchir to the Ministry of Energy. You know, before, it was Kipchumba Murkomen who was the minister in charge of transport in the transport ministry and roads. So it means that assets like the airports directly fell under his cabinet. And now you saw even the other time when Murkomen was asked on the same deal, he denied also on the existence rather of such a deal. So question yourself and ask yourself, why was it proficient maybe to appoint Davis Chirchir as the Minister of Energy or as the Minister of Transport? It kind of seemed like a kind of a cover-up scheme, because we know the relationship between Davis Chirchir and the president. So there seem to be having a lot of issues that the president needed people he could trust with information on the same, such that they could continue with the trend of denying Kenyans access to critical information like this. So, on this, in terms of communication, is where the government failed. In terms of communication, nobody's having problems with the private-public partnerships. But people want to see the communication. People want to know what devil is in the detail. And as a matter of fact, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 guarantees citizens the right to access to information. Thank you for watching. That marks the end of our analysis.